Hey y'all, welcome back to the LB show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Orangebloods Texas YouTube channel. Please ignore my surroundings. It kind of looks like I'm in a jail cell right now, but you get it how you live. I do these interviews wherever I go. But trust me, I'm just in an office right now. And we're going to talk some mental health with Lauren and some Big 12 play / Big 12s next week. But first, I saw an interesting fact, Lauren, and I thought it was funny. I was on TikTok and it was like what your state is like the best at or something like that. And for Oregon, it said that Oregon has the most vegans. I thought that was crazy because you told me that you were vegan for a while and you're from Oregon. So now I'm kind of wondering, like, was it predestined for you to be vegan?
Honestly, maybe it was. My mom was like vegetarian vegan for a hot minute when I was like super little. She's gone through all kinds of phases with vegetarian vegan. So maybe I get it from my mom. I don't know. But yeah, Oregon is so crazy. There's so many people that are absolutely anti-meat eaters, total vegan lifestyle, like no fur, no nothing. So I mean,
wow.
Maybe it's just where I'm from. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like an Oregon thing.
Like any restaurant you go to in Oregon, you can get a vegan option so easily.
Texas needs to get on that because I know like I have tried to implement more vegan meals into my diet. Well, it was during track season, not now because I don't care. But try to implement more vegan meals into my diet, and Texas is tough. They're like, no, here's brisket instead.
Yeah. Austin, I would say Austin is a easier place to be vegan, but if you get out of Austin, then it's a struggle.
Oh, yeah. No, it's done.
But I don't live that life anymore. Now give me chicken meat. I don't care.
But not pork.
Just don't like the taste and the texture and just grosses me out.
It's normal. No, it's normal. I just don't like it. Okay, let's talk some mental health. We have always, like with our interviews on the LB show, we have always just kind of skimmed the surface on it a little bit, brought it up from time to time. But due to the most recent tragedies at some of the other schools, I just feel like it would be wrong to just glance over it. I interview about 7 athletes every week, and not talking about mental health, it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Yeah. So talk to me about what struggles you have faced in college.
The student athletes in general, I feel like have been more vocal about mental health more recently, which I think is really important and really good. But there, a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half, a softball student athlete had taken her own life, and it really hit the entire softball community super hard, including Texas. And yeah, it was like almost makes me emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it feels like it hits so close to home, you know. You never truly think that it's going to be something that you face, or you just think like, okay, well, because the person next to me has gotten it all together, or they have gone through struggles, like now bringing it back to us, it's like, I don't know. But when it happens in your community, and it happened from 3 girls, like in the same week. So it's kind of like we would be selfish to just ignore it because it's definitely a thing that happens to everyone.
I mean, we took a couple days off of practice and just like worked together as a team, which was really good last week. But I mean, it's hard also for the coaches because they're thinking like how close it could have been one of us or something like that. And so it's scary for them and for us as a team in general. But yeah,
absolutely. And my least favorite comment that I hear is just like, well, this is what you signed up for. Yeah. You signed up for the struggle. And it's kind of like, that's not the case at all. No. And saying things like that can be extremely insensitive, especially when you do face it. Because I think that was my problem going through college, was nobody was talking about it. And so I would think that like I was just tripping, like that's what people usually think, like what you're going through is just Serenity, you're fine. The person next to you has gotten over an injury, or the person next to you has gotten over a death in the family. So it's like you needing time off is like, it's dramatic,
Well, I was
signed up for it.
I was reading this article and it was saying how people look at the student athlete experience and they think, oh, they do school just like everyone else, and then they're an athlete, so they have an extra couple hours a day of practice. But then on top of the student athletes, the university well, athletics in general, they add in so much stuff in attempt to help us, whether it's Zoom meetings and financial literacy, or like I'm going to a career fair after this. And it's like all of these things that tack on to the time that you're spent away from just like me time. So it's like, you don't really get that me time because you have tutoring for 2 hours after practice. You have mandatory dinners at Tank or whatever it might be. That's the Texas Athletic Nutrition Center, if you don't know what that is, but it's like, you don't really have time through your day to just be like, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to do my self check-ins. Cause there's really, for us, it's like we have early morning weights. So it's, you wake up and you go straight to weights, and then you go to class, and then you go to practice, then you go to tutoring, then you go to bed. Or if there's another meeting on top of that, you go to that. So it's, they look at it as, oh, you're a student just like everyone else with practice, but it's like, there's so much more that people don't see. And especially online, people are so quick to make judgments on people and their performance or whatever it might be. Or for a lot of female student athletes, their look or their body, or literally everything is critique that you do when you're a student athlete. And it's a blessing that we get this platform, but at the same time, the platform comes with a lot of outside noise, which is really tough to balance on top of all of the rest.
Absolutely. And I'm really happy you brought up that point of just like having me time.
Yeah.
Because I think that was one of the main things that the hardest things that I faced. Like I was on campus from Sunday to Sunday, you know, so we would have Sunday, we would have mandatory treatment, which is great. Like, you know, all of the resources Texas gives you is great. Like you just said,
great, yeah.
So we would have like mandatory treatment. And then Monday is practice, you know, Monday through Friday is practice, sometimes Saturday, a lot of the time Saturday. So it would be like, I'm seeing the same faces every single day. It's like, at no point do I get to not see y'all. Like, I'm sorry, I love you guys, but at no point do I get to not see y'all. And those times where people are able to have their, you know, maybe minor breakdowns, or able to just like scream it out or just feel the way they're feeling, we don't necessarily get that because we have to go to practice or go to class. And then on top of that, we have to perform to a high standard. So a lot of people, like you said, a lot of the noise on social media is kind of like, well, there are students who work jobs. I'm like, absolutely. And they're busy too. But it's like, we are doing school. Our job is our sports. And on top of that, we would like to perform, you know, so we're basically getting, in a way, like, it's kind of like performance based, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't get your weekend ruined if you have a bad race, like we do. Or you don't get dragged on social media for not winning that Big 12 championship like we do. So it's kind of like, it's hard to compare. And it's definitely something that needs to be discussed more. Like, it is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something that I am extremely headstrong on. Argue with anybody in the comments about. But
there's just, it's just been a long couple weeks, a tough couple weeks. But I think it also puts into perspective so much, and like appreciating our teammates so much more, and showing them how much they're loved and cared about beyond just their sport. And our coaches have addressed it. And really, as a team, I think we're coming together and just loving each other really well, especially right now, and just being like, it's like you said, it's okay to not be okay. These are the resources. These are the phone numbers of people on Texas campus that can help if you're going through something. So, I mean, we do know our resources, and that's really good that we had those conversations and just had that time last week. But I think it's not something that's like a one conversation and everything is fixed. And I think a lot of times that's what happens is you have the one mandatory meeting, and then it just kind of falls off the table instead of having it be a consistent conversation that's makes it more normalized on your team. And I think that's super important to implement onto, I would say, every team on campuses, just to make a space that student athletes feel comfortable being vulnerable with each other. And that'll also just build that connection and hopefully take some of the hardships off of people's shoulders that they're feeling.
Absolutely. And it's also Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is.
One of the main things that I was wanting to, you know, just not only, like you said, have multiple conversations, even after like graduation, I feel like athletes need to be guided in the right direction, because, you know, I've gone out of it where I have all of the resources to, as soon as May 5th is over, like I have no resources. And it's like that therapist that I was seeing is no longer answering the phone because, you know, I'm no longer on scholarship anymore after graduation. So definitely being guided to the right resources. Like, here's what you do after graduation. Here's how we set you up. and trying to figure out what you want to do. Like, it's okay to go home. It's okay to, go into this job, like basically just like guided in the right direction. Yeah. We get all of these resources basically to the point where we're spoiled, and then we get like nothing at all. So it's definitely something that needs to be talked about, also people moving out. But on a lighter note, you guys have Big 12 play Friday through Sunday facing Baylor. Tell me about how you're feeling a little bit.
I'm excited. We go to Baylor, so it'll be our last road game on Friday, and then we're doing senior night Saturday, actually, and then I believe a banquet or something like that on Sunday. So it's going to be fun to just feel celebrated and celebrate all of the accomplishments of all of us seniors who are in our last year, but just to get to play on our field, soak in all the appreciation from the fans. It's just going to be a fun day. I'm honestly not super sad about it, to be honest. I feel like very at peace with it. I think because it's my 5th year, and if it would have happened last year, I would have been like crushed, devastated. I'm like, no, I didn't get my time. But I think now I'm at the point where it's like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to like be done with your sport eventually. And like, this isn't forever, and just really taking the time with my teammates, celebrating everything. And I'm excited that my family's going to be able to be there. And then, so we're done then at home, and we go off to the Big 12 tournament, which is at Oklahoma City, which is the same place the World Series is held, which I'd like to say is a slight advantage that we get to play there in hopes that we make the World Series. But then we go and hopefully we make a run to win the Big 12 tournament championship, and then Selection Sunday happens. Everything just wraps up so quick, and we'll get to see if we're hosting regionals or potentially even hosting super regionals if we go out on a run this last few games. So there's a lot of hope. It's a lot of excitement, a little bit of nerves, but overall it's super exciting time right now.
Absolutely. Just embrace all of it.
Yes.
Like the graduations, the senior nights, like you just named a lot. And the fact that we're in May now. Like this is pretty much crunch time. May, June, July, all the above. It's just like crunch time for you guys.
Goes by so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So honestly,
fast. You're telling me, like, now I'm just like, I remember asking you about how you felt about the first game, and now you're like senior night.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Wild.
But it was really good catching up with you, Lauren. Have fun at your career fair. It's really funny that you have to go to that.
I know. But I'm like, do I have a tier mark now?
I know.
It's okay.
All right, y'all. This was the LB Show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Orangebloods Texas YouTube channel.
Bye.